Hello everyone, welcome back to On The Fly. Today we're going to be recapping day 3 of the Olympic hockey event. So we'll get right into it, starting with the games from day 3, with Canada beating Finland 11-1. Another blowout from the Canadian team. And really this was a game I thought would be a lot closer. Obviously Finland is a team that is ranked 3rd, is pretty much undisputed that they're going to be 3rd in any sort of Group A matchups in between Russia and Switzerland to play for 4th and 5th. But Canada did blow them out again, 11-1, and they just dominated. Nothing was really there for the Finns. They came back a little bit in the first period, went down 2-0 early, then came back scoring a goal, and then Canada just steamrolled them in the second and the third, really giving them no opportunity to come back at all, and just really just put the pedal on the metal and just killed them. But I think especially for the Finns, they have to bounce back. Obviously, they started off with a tough matchup with the U.S. and Canada in their first 2 games. But with that being said, they do have Russia and Switzerland coming up. So that should be 2 wins for them, and I do expect them to definitely contend for that. And then I think that in the end, they do actually have a shot to come back and get that 3rd spot, especially because they need it right now. More than ever, because they don't really want to be playing inside their own group. If they have the choice, they'd much rather play in a team against Group B. But with that being said, they are fortunate enough to be in Group A, where they're not actually playing for their Olympic lives right now. They do automatically get into the playoff rounds, but of course you do want to get the higher seed whenever you can. Moving on to game 2 of the day was between Japan and Denmark. Another game where just a blowout, 6-2. Might not seem like a big margin. Obviously, it is quite a large margin. But when you look at a Group B team winning 6-2, it is a large margin because one of the few teams that really has a scoring touch is a team like Japan. They're going to outwork you every game. The same as like the Chinese team. They're going to outwork you, but in the end, they don't really have the talent there to score, and that's why they're in Group B and not Group A. But at the end of the day, Japan did find a way to score in this game, and they did take it 6-2, completely outplaying Denmark. And once again, Denmark never really stood a chance. And that's really just the story of the day for some of these teams, is they get throttled early and then they have to sort of try and come back as late as they can. Moving on to game 3 of the day was between the Czechs and the Swedes. The Czech Republic did win 3-1 in once again another sort of deciding fashion. Obviously, the Czechs are one of the best teams in this tournament. I'd rank them probably 6 or 7 between them and Japan, just based off of the groups. And really, in terms of the Czechs, they're going to win games. They don't have to win big like Canada or the U.S. or Japan will, but at the end of the day, they're going to win games, and they're not going to win them by large margins. They're going to win nice, tight checking games, and you can see that here with a 3-1 victory over the Swedes. And I am very curious to see what happens between the Czechs and Japan, because that is another game that is going to pretty much entirely depend on which team has a shot at making it to the quarterfinals, the semifinals at that, because if you get the first seed, you basically stand a chance. You'll play the Finns, but if you come 2nd or 3rd in your group, you're going to get wiped by either Canada or the U.S. So it is going to be very interesting to see how that kind of goes, because in my opinion, I think, especially seeing in this tournament so far, Japan does stand the best shot to play Finland and be able to win. But moving on to game 4 of the day between the U.S. and Russia. So this was the late night, early morning game, depending on where you live. And this was 5-0 throttling for the U.S. And the 5-0 isn't really representative of what happened in the game. The U.S. once again dominated throughout the entire day, and the Russia never stood a chance. But the more Russia tried to push back, the U.S. pushed back harder, and just killed them. They buried them early, and they just kept sort of putting the pressure on, keeping in the offensive zone. The goalies played amazing for Russia, sort of kept them in that game as much as they could. But at the end of the day, you can't really beat the U.S. As a Russian team. But with that being said, we'll move on to the standings for today. So Canada and U.S. both with 6 points. Russia with 3 points, regulation win and a loss. and then Finland and Switzerland bringing up the rear with 2 losses each for Group A. And then for Group B, we got Czech and Japan, both with 6 points. China with 3 points, 1 regulation win and 1 regulation loss. So those are your 3 teams as of right now that would make it into the quarterfinal matchups. And then Denmark and Sweden both with 0 wins and 2 regulation losses. So they are going to want to try and claw out of there because they need to get out and get in front of China. And then because Japan and Czechs will most likely run away with the group right now. And then between Denmark, Sweden, and China will be fighting for that 3rd spot, who would then play the top spot in Group A. So taking a look at upcoming games for today's matchups. So we got in the morning, 3:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Japan and China. So this is another game where it's going to be 2 really hard-working countries going at it. It's going to be definitely an energetic game, but I do expect Japan to pull through and win this one pretty handedly. And then for the 8:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time game between Switzerland and the U.S., expect another throttling from the U.S. I don't see this one being terribly close. Obviously, it's 2 countries where you see here the top and the bottom of the group. But you never know. There is always that, and that's why you play hockey. If it was a predetermined result, you wouldn't play it. So just sort of recapping today in terms of the hat tricks, Nurse and Brianne Jenner from Canada, both with the hat tricks in the 11-1 victory over the Finns. But other than that, if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. If you'd like to drop a like, if you really liked it, consider subscribing. Tell all your friends, leave a comment down below your thoughts on Day 3 of the Women's Olympic Hockey event. Until next time, see ya.